News World. Trump says Trump says U.S.-Iran ceasefire will still in place after exchange of fire in Strait of Hormuz. Iran accuses the U.S. of violating the truce, alleging it targeted an oil tanker and carried out attacks on coastal areas. Russia and Ukraine accuse each other of breaching Victory Day ceasefire. Russia and Ukraine have accused each other of violating separate ceasefires declared by each side to cover the celebrations of the Soviet Union's victory over Nazi Germany. The Russian Defense Ministry reported that more than 1,000 violations in the conflict zone, while Moscow's mayor said that the city has been targeted by drones since the ceasefire began at midnight local time. Ukraine also said Russia had continued to strike its position since that time. Russian President Vladimir Putin announced a ceasefire for 8 to 9th May ahead of Victory Day celebrations on Saturday. Kyiv had earlier called for an infinite truce starting 6th of May. Russia has warned Ukraine not to try attack the Victory Day parade in the Red Square. Its defense ministry has threatened to launch a retaliatory massive missile strike on the center of Kyiv if Moscow is attacked. It has warned foreign diplomats to leave the Ukrainian capital ahead of 9th of May. For the first time in nearly 2 decades, there will be no military hardware at the parade, while the Russian capital is on high alert over the fears that Ukraine could try to disrupt the events. Residents of Moscow and St. Petersburg have also been warned that mobile internet access will be limited for security reasons. Celebrations used to bring large numbers of foreign guests to Moscow, but this time only the leaders of Belarus, Malaysia, and Laos and few other dignitaries will attend. In a post on Telegram on Friday morning, the Russian Defense Ministry said that there had been 1,365 violations of the ceasefire, including 153 artillery strikes and 887 drone strikes in the conflict zone. It said Ukraine was also continuing to strike civilian targets in border areas of the Kursk and Belgorod regions close to the conflict zone. Russian armed forces provided a mirror response to the violations, the ministry added. Meanwhile, Moscow Mayor Sergei Sobyanin said some 20 drones had been downed near the city in just the first 2 hours of ceasefire. Ukrainian strikes were also reported in industrial sites in the Perm and Yaroslavl regions, as well as sites in Rostov region and the Chechen capital Grozny. 13 airports in southern Russia also suspended operations after a drone attack. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky posted on Telegram that there had been more than 140 attacks on Ukrainian positions in the first few hours of the truce and more than 850 drone strikes. All of this clearly indicates that there was not even a simulated attempt from the Russian side to cease fire at the front. He said, just like the results of the past day, Ukraine will act in kind today. On Thursday, Ukraine accused Russia of breaching Kyiv's unilateral ceasefire, launching drone attacks, including a kindergarten in Sumy region. 2 people were killed in that attack. although no children were present at the time. The war of words over the ceasefires came after European Council President Antonio Costa said he thought there was potential for EU to negotiate with Russia over ending the war, and said that they had Zelensky's backing to do so. I'm talking with EU. I'm talking with the EU's 27 national leaders to see the best way to organize ourselves and to identify what we need effectively to discuss with Russia when it comes the right moment to do this, he said in an interview with the Financial Times on Thursday. We're going to change the geography. We are in Europe. We are neighbors of Russia. And of course, we need to talk with them about the future of the security architecture of Europe, he added. Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov responded Russia was ready for dialogue but will not initiate such contracts ourselves. The US has mediated several round talks between Russia and Ukraine, but so far without any breakthrough. And there are concerns that Washington is now distracted by the war in the Middle East. Speaking on a visit to Italy on Friday, Secretary of State Mark Rubio said the US was still prepared to mediate, but did not want to waste time if progress was not being made. Zelensky said he expected US envoys to come to Kyiv in the next few weeks. Separately, Ukrainian emergency personnel are battling a huge wildfire in the exclusion zone at Kornobyl, known at the time of the nuclear disaster in the former Soviet Union by its Russian name Chernobyl. Strong winds, dry weather, and landmines in some areas from the ongoing conflict are complicating efforts to control the place. Firefighters say it's spreading rapidly, already covering some 11 square kilometers. The exclusion zone in Kiev region remains highly contaminated, but the authorities say radiation in the area of the fire remains within the normal range. Worldwide race to trace passengers from hantavirus hit cruise ship. Health authorities across the globe are racing to trace dozens of people who disembarked from a cruise ship before an outbreak of hantavirus was detected, and anyone who has come into close contact with them since. 5 cases have now been confirmed, including 3 deaths following an outbreak on the Dutch vessel MV Hondius, the World Health Organization has said. The United Nations Health Agency also said that the outbreak is not the start of pandemic like COVID 6 years ago because this hantavirus strain spreads through close intimate contact. But given the incubation period of this disease, which can be up to 6 weeks, it's possible more cases may be reported, World Health Organization said. About 150 passengers and crew from 28 countries are reported to have initially been aboard the vessel. Dozens got off on the island of St. Helena 24th of April. The luxury cruise operated by Oceanwide Expeditions began its journey on 1st of April in Ushuaia, Argentina, and is expected to arrive in Spain's Canary Islands 10th of May. Hantavirus typically spreads from rodents, but in the latest outbreak, the transmission between people was documented for the first time, the World Health Organization said. The World Health Organization is in touch with officials in at least 12 countries who are monitoring citizens that returned home. Those countries include Canada, Denmark, Germany, the Netherlands, New Zealand, St. Kitts and Nevis, Singapore, Sweden, Switzerland, Turkey, the United Kingdom, and the United States. One expert told the BBC the outbreak response had been highly chaotic but uncoordinated, but there was little general risk to the public. Here is what we know about the countries affected so far. Okay, there's a drawing. 3 British nationals have suspected hantavirus. 7 Brits disembarked the MV Honduras in St. Helena on 24th of April before first contaminated case of hantavirus was reported 4th of May, with 4 remaining there. One patient is on the remote Atlantic island of Tristan da Cunha, where the ship stopped in mid-April. 2 other British men have confirmed cases. One is Martin Anstey, a 56-year-old retired police officer who remains in stable condition in the Netherlands after being evacuated from the ship on Wednesday, while the other remains in intensive care after being flown to South Africa last month. They do not have symptoms but are in contact with health officials. It is understood that the medical staff will be sent to the islands to provide support. 2 other British nationals are already self-isolating at home in the UK after potential exposure. They are doing so voluntarily and do not have any symptoms. US health agencies of 5 states have said they are monitoring people who were on the ship, 2 each in Georgia and Texas, 1 each in Arizona and Virginia, and an unspecified number in California, according to the BBC's US partner CBS News. None of the individuals were showing symptoms, the health department said. Argentina. Before boarding the cruise ship on the 1st of May, the Dutch couple had taken a bird watching trip through Argentina, Chile, Uruguay, visiting sites where the species of rat known to carry the Andes strain of the virus was present, according to the World Health Organization. The source of the outbreak has not been confirmed, but the Argentine government is looking into whether infections began in the country. Cape Verde. The HMB Hondius was denied its plans to dock in the West African archipelago and remained anchored off its coast for several days before it set off towards the Canary Islands on Wednesday. French Foreign Ministry Health said it has identified 8 French nationals who had contact with the Dutch woman who died from hantavirus on her flight from St. Helena to Johannesburg. One of those individuals had shown mild symptoms and testing was pending, the agency said on Thursday. The others were offered isolation measures and access to testing, according to the agency. Germany. One of the women who died was a passenger from Germany. According to World Health Organization, the woman initially developed a fever on 28th of April and eventually presented with symptoms of pneumonia. Her body was still on the ship, according to the cruise operator. Netherlands. 3 people on the ship are Dutch, including 8 passengers and 5 crew members. 13 people on the ship are Dutch, including 8 passengers and 5 crew members. The 3 deaths so far include 2 Dutch nationals, a husband and wife. The woman tested positive for hantavirus and died in South Africa. A Dutch one was admitted to hospital in Amsterdam after showing possible symptoms of hantavirus infection, the country's health minister said on Thursday. Dutch broadcaster RTL said the woman was stewardess at Dutch airline KLM who had been in contact with the woman who died from hantavirus infection in Johannesburg. However, on Friday, World Health Organization official told CBS News that she had tested negative for the virus. Philippines. Among the crew of the MV Hondius are 38 people from the Philippines. There are currently no recorded cases of hantavirus in the country, with officials stressing the risk remains extremely low. Spain. The MV Hondius is expected to dock in Spain's Tenerife in the Canary Islands by Saturday. All in 146 people from 23 countries remain on the MV Hondius as it sails to the Canary Islands, where they will medically assessed before being able to travel home. Spanish authorities agreed to the move, but the Canary Islands president has opposed the plan. I cannot allow the boat to enter the Canaries, Fernando Lavillo told Spain's Onda Cero Radio. The decision is not based on any technical criteria or nor have we been given any enough information. Once in Tenerife, if they are still healthy, all non-Spanish citizens will be repatriated to their countries, while 14 Spanish passengers will be quarantined in a military hospital in Madrid. People in Tenerife told the BBC that they are concerned about the ship's arrival and that residents could end up with problem on the island. I don't think it's a good idea, but people do need help, said one of the residents. Switzerland. A Swiss man who disembarked the cruise ship in St. Helena tested positive for the Andes strains of hantavirus, according to Swiss health officials at the World Health Organization. The man developed symptoms and underwent testing in Zurich, where he is receiving care, officials said Wednesday. A cyber attack disrupts SWAT of US and Canadian universities and schools. A cyber attack on Thursday hit several universities and schools in the US and Canada, causing chaos, confusion, and major disruptions amid the high stakes end of the year season. The hacking group Sinew Hunters reportedly claimed responsibility for the attack, which caused the academic software Canvas used by thousands of schools and universities to go offline. Well, late Thursday, the company Instructure, which owns Canvas, posted an update on its website saying that Canvas was available for most users. The cyber attack targeted universities and schools across North America, from New York to Vancouver. Penn State University wrote in a message to students that no one has access to Canvas, Canvas, adding that a resolution was unlikely to arrive within the next 24 hours. The university called some exams scheduled for Thursday and Friday. In an update on Thursday evening, University of British Columbia in Vancouver informed students that Canvas was unavailable due to a cyber breach of its parent company Instructure, and advised them to log out immediately. The University of Toronto also reported it was impacted by the breach, saying that multiple universities were affected. Students at the University of California, Los Angeles struggled to submit assignments online through the Canvas platform, and the University of Chicago in Illinois temporarily disabled its Canvas page after reports that it was targeted. The Chicago Maroon University-led newspaper posted a screenshot of a message from shiny hunters that appeared to be seeking a ransom. The message encouraged the university to contact the hacking group privately to negotiate a settlement and avoiding the release of their data. Screenshots from the targeted threats from the group began on Sunday, with deadlines given on Thursday and 12th of May. Luke Connolly, a threat analyst at the cybersecurity from Emisoft, told the Associated Press. He said discussions regarding extortion payments could be ongoing. The cyber attack came the same day that the US Senate Democrat Chuck Schumer sent a letter to the Trump administration urging for more defense against cyber risks in the age of rapidly developing AI. The Department of Homeland Security, an agency that helps ward off against cyber attacks, must immediately help states and localities, Schumer wrote. Before Americans are hit with outtakes, disruptions, and attacks that could put lives and livelihoods at risk, he continued. Okay, that was it. Three dead after volcano erupts on Indonesian island. 3 people hiking on the Indonesian Mount Dukono have died after the volcano erupted on Friday morning. Videos and pictures of the eruption show the volcano located on North Maluku Island spewing on a column of ash stretching 10 kilometers into the sky. The 3 victims were part of a group of 20 Singaporeans and Indonesians hiking on the mountain despite restrictions. The rest of the group was eventually located by rescuers and evacuated from the mountain. The volcano has erupted more than 200 times since last March. Officials had previously issued warnings against climbing the mountain due to safety concerns. The latest eruption took place at 07:41 local time, when there were several people on the mountain on early morning hikes. Indonesian officials said 2 Singaporeans and 1 local resident from The nearby city of Ternate had died. Both of the foreign victims are believed to be male, with one aged 30 and other aged 27. The local victim is said to be female, but no more details have been given. The bodies of the three deceased are still on the mountain, according to the North Halmahera police chief Eriksson Pasaribu thought most of the hiking group have been safely evacuated and sent to hospital. Two members of the group who are porters stayed behind on the mountain to help rescue workers locate the bodies. On Friday afternoon, Mount Dukono was still emitting volcanic material from its crater, according to one local resident assisting rescuers. Aldy Salabia told BBC Indonesia that there were at least at the local shelter of the mountain preparing for the rescue operation. From the shelter, we can see ash and rock material continuously being ejected. Eriksson said that revival of the bodies had been hampered by repeated eruptions, difficult terrain, and strong blasts from the volcano. The operation to reach the volcano crater. The operation to reach the volcano's crater, where the bodies of the victims are thought to be located, was paused as night fell on Friday evening, with Eriksson saying that it would resume on Saturday. Besides the 20-member hiking group, eyewitness accounts indicate there were other hikers on the mountains as well. One guide who was on Mount Dukono with two clients at the time of the eruption told BBC Indonesian that he believed high pressure had been building up inside the volcano for several days. When Dukono hasn't erupted for a few days, you have to be careful, he said, describing the eruption as major and very strong. As they were hiking up, he saw one group of people at the edge of the crater, as well as another group about 50 meters from the crater who were filming drone videos. Then I heard deep tremors, so I decided to immediately descend with the guests, and in the end, 3 of us were safe. As they were descending, he saw many hikers were still at the summit, he added. Indonesian officials said that they had issued warnings against climbing Mount Dukono, which were widely disseminated through social media, well as on banners at trail entrances, but some hikers had ignored them. Indonesian Search and Rescue Agency Basarnas said that initial discussions among authorities found there may have been possible negligence by tourism operators or individuals who proceeded with climbing Mount Dukono despite the warnings. The government is continuing to gather information to establish a complete account of the incident, it said. Mount Dukono is currently listed at level 2 out of the volcanic survey of Indonesia's Portaya volcano alert system, which indicates the increased activity and need for caution. The agency said that since September 2024, it has recommended tourists and climbers to refrain from activities within 4-kilometer radius of the Mount Dukono's main crater, where there are threats of ejected rocks, ash, and lava. Still, that has not deterred hikers from heading up to 1,335-meter tall mountain. Dukono is one of the most active volcanoes in Indonesia, said Siti Sumila Rita Susivalati, head of Center for Volcanology and Geological Hazard Mitigation. Speaking to reporters, Susilavati said that the no-go zone was the recommendation that the agency made to local governments, adding they had communicated with the local community. Dr. Daryono from the Indonesian Association of Disaster Experts said that incident once again demonstrated that active volcanoes can never be treated as ordinary tourist destinations. Dukono is a mountain with almost continuous eruptive activity, so any violation of the danger zone carries a fatal risk, he told the BBC. On social media, the public often sees videos of climbers or influencers who successfully ascend and return safely. Such content slowly creates a distorted risk perception. The public only sees those who successfully descend and post dramatic content, while potential threats that did not occur at the time become invisible. The real danger remains and could emerge at any time in the form of injections of incandescent material, thick asphalt, volcanic gas, or sudden explosive eruptions. Okay, I think that's enough now. Okay, this question. Yeah, maybe I will quit this live now.